Well, y'all, I just came in from the garden and I harvested 2. Look at this. This is just 2 great big stalks of celery. Bunches of celery. I only pulled 2 of them out, and I pulled 2 out like this and took them to my son last week when I went over there. But I got to finish cutting off the ends. You can see I've still got part of the root end on there. I got to trim that up on both of them. And then I'm going to wash them and trim them back a little bit. And then show you how I'm going to store these. Because I've got too much celery. I can't eat it all at one time. So I'm going to show you different ways that you can store it. One way you can keep it for up to about 3 months in your freezer. Or another way I'm going to show you that I'm going to do, because you know it's going to take me quite a while to eat that much celery. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to basically do all my celery, and you can keep it for a year or more the way I'm going to do it, and it'll stay a lot fresher without getting too mushy. So I'm going to proceed here to get this trimmed up, and then I'll come back. Well, y'all, I've got it to a point where I'm starting to trim this up. Now, the smallest ones, I'm probably going to leave the little leaves on there, because the leaves are good too for the smaller parts. I don't want any of the leaves on these bigger ones though. So I'm putting those, remember my coffee container that I put the holes in to put leaves and stuff in to bury this in that raised bed? You know, I'll bury it up to about here or here, and then I'll put the lid on it to keep flies or anything from getting in there, or drawing flies, and it'll break down and make plant food for the rest of my plants that are in there, which are my strawberries. But this is a lot of celery, y'all. I hope my daughter-in-law knew what to do with it as far as saving it, because I know they couldn't eat 2 great big bunches of celery that I took over there at one time. So I'm hoping they will be able to do something with it. Maybe she'll see this video and still have bunches of the celery and go ahead and save part of it. I trim off the bad looking ends and put that right in the little bucket. Put the rest over here in this. And see, this is part of the bottom of it that I cut off. That goes right in the bucket. I use my fingers more than I do knives, y'all. But that's going to fill this up, and then I'll put the rest of it in my compost bucket that I've got in here. It's been emptied already. Ooh. Good thing I haven't washed that yet. I just dropped it in the floor. I wanted to cut that bad end of it off. But I was going to show you how I do one of them. Just trim it up good. Take all your leaves and either throw it in your compost pile or put it in your little containers that you can put in your garden to feed your plants with. Now, some of the leaves, some people like to put in salads. See, I cut the bad looking part off. Throw that over there too. But some of the real good leaves, the tiny leaves, you can save. Free, you know, store them right along with your chopped celery to put in soups, stews, anything that you'd normally cook and put celery in. I'm not going to save that many of them, just a few of the tiny ones. And that's almost full just with one here, so I'm definitely gonna have to use my other bin to put the rest of it in. Like I said, I cut the worst of it off. And you could certainly take that instead of putting it in the compost. If you like, boil it real good, just boil it to death and make a like a celery broth out of it to put that in your stews and stuff as well. I'm not going to go to that extreme with it because I've got quite a bit to do just to show you how to save this celery. But yeah, you can make a good vegetable stock by taking all these pieces that you cut off of here, wash them real good, put them in a pot and just boil them to death, and strain all of the liquid out of it so it's nothing but pure liquid, and you've got a real good vegetable stock to go in stews, soups, whatever you want to put it in. And I might do that with some of it. I'm not doing it with all of this. And I'm not going to do it today for sure because I got my hands full just fixing this. So, but see, just one of these bunches of celery is filling this container up. I mean, that's full. Cut the end of that off because it doesn't look too good. But yeah, that's one whole celery stalk or bunch, and I've got this bunch to still do. But here's the top of this little bin, the lid. So you fill it up, just bury it to about there in your garden. And if you feel the incline when you're watering, throw a little water in there because the top comes off real easy. But it keeps it covered to prevent attracting flies, gnats, that type of thing, because your holes are going to be buried under your dirt in your raised bed or your pot. I'm putting this in the raised bed because it's a big container. I'm going to put it right in the middle of it where I'm pulling my celery up. I'm going to put it right in the middle. So every time it rains or I water my plants, water will get in here. This celery will break down. It'll cause, it'll go into compost and it'll bleed out the holes into the raised bed and actually fertilize or feed my plants, my strawberry plants. Because my strawberry plants are not going anywhere. I'm leaving them right in that raised bed. But that's how to do it. I wanted to show you that. Let's see now. I'm going to go ahead and do this other one and I'll come back. Well, y'all, I'm back, and as you can see, I've got a big pot with water in there, and I'm bringing this pot of water to a boil while I cut up my celery. Now, I've already washed it, trimmed it, and there's all my celery right there. Great big old armful of celery. But now I've got to chop it. And what I mean by chopping, you chop it to the length, the size you want it. Don't get it too tiny. Probably about half an inch, not quite half an inch. Now, basically you use celery that you have frozen, just in soups, stews, anything, any kind of recipe that you normally add celery to. It's not going to be very good to put in a fresh salad or anything like that. Not after it's frozen. But you can see, let's see, the pieces that I cut up here. You can see about the size of them. Just what you normally would chop up to put in a soup or any type of recipe that you would put cut up celery in. Now while that pot's coming to a boil, I'm going to continue on chopping up all of this celery. It's already been washed, so already been trimmed. So all I got to do now is just basically chop it up. The end pieces like that, I'm just going to split right down the middle. Put in my bowl. Now I'm going to continue on and chop up all the rest of the celery, and we'll come back. Well, y'all, I'm back. I got all my celery chopped. It's been washed, chopped. I got a big pot of boiling water right here. Turn it up a little bit because I want it to keep boiling. And I'm hoping all this will fit in here. If not, I'm going to have to get more pots. I'm thinking it will. I may have to take out some of the water, who knows. But what this is going to do, it'll kill the enzymes in the celery that eventually makes it go mushy when it's frozen. It'll also help keep its color after it's frozen. It'll keep its greenness, if that makes any sense. But we got to heat this up to boiling. And I might just take a little bit of that water out because I think I got too much in there. I don't want it to boil over. That's one good thing. These little mugs with the handlers are good for. If you overfill your pot, you can always dip it out without burning your hands. That probably is enough right there. Now what we're going to do is bring it back to a boil. And we're going to boil it for 3 minutes. And then I'm going to start putting some cold water in this bowl. Because after it's boiled for 3 minutes, you've got to immediately dump it in ice water. So we've got to get this up to a boil. And I know that the fan is making a racket, but it's 90-some degrees today. My AC's been running non-stop, and that exhaust fan will help pull some of the heat from that pot out. And I want you to see, I have got my compost bucket crammed full of celery leaves and stalks. All of the stuff that's going to go in my compost bin outside. I've already taken it out one time today, and I'll go empty it again. But once it starts boiling, which I think it's just about to do it, and this is called blanching it. But with celery, you got to do it for at least 3 minutes. once it's boiling. Kills all those enzymes that keep it from getting so mushy once it's frozen. Plus, it'll help keep the greenness color in your celery. Now that is wide open, so it should start boiling back. Because you know that the celery we put in there was a little cold. It wasn't real hot. It wasn't it was basically room temperature maybe. I'm starting to see a few bubbles. And I've got 2 trays of ice that I'll be getting out. Make sure I got some in my thing here. I may have to put some in the ice maker. No, I got 2 trays of ice, frozen solid, in the freezer up there that I'll take out and put in there to cool the celery down immediately. And notice I've got a slotted spoon, or you can use something like this to dip it out with, because you don't want to dip the, I might go ahead and use that, I don't know. You can use either one. Now, it's wide open, it should start boiling. It's got a few bubbles coming to the top, so I know it's trying to start. But like I said, bring it to a boil, let it boil for 3 minutes, and then I'll come back and show you what else to do with it. I brought you back because my timer's almost ready to go off. I'm going to go ahead and get my ice out. Run water on this one. And I'll go ahead and put these back in the freezer. I've got an ice maker over there, but it makes real tiny ice. And I'm spoiled with my big ice cubes, you know. I still like the old-fashioned big ice cubes in my tea. It takes them longer to melt. I mean, in some things it's good, but splattered water everywhere. And notice I've got a colander here, but you have to put it in a, almost, you boil them for 3 minutes and then you put them in the ice bath and leave them for 3 minutes. Timer should be going off any time. In the meantime, you might want to get a baking sheet with a towel, and it can be any type of towel. This is a clean bath towel that I'm going to put them on. And I'm hoping it'll go up in my freezer. So I'm going to turn the heat off. I'm going to get over here and start dipping this out. And I'm going to immediately put it right in the ice bath. Now what I'm going to do with the rest of it is just pour it in a colander so I can get all the rest of the celery out of this pot. Ooh, it's kind of heavy, y'all. Dump it right in that ice bath. I'm going to stir it around just a little bit. And like I said, we're going to leave that there for 3 minutes. Whew. I guess we can turn this off because we don't have any more heat going. I am going to rinse my pot out. I'll wash it later real good, but I'm just going to rinse it out and set it up there for right now. Get it out of my way. I'm going to cool this colander down before I put my celery in it that I take out of this ice bath. And it's just basically that simple. I mean, it takes a little bit of time to harvest your celery, chop it up, wash it, or wash it and then chop it up. But, you know, hey, if it's not worth doing, then you don't need a garden, I guess. Or you don't need your food. I mean, it'll take me a long time to use up all this celery right here. And I've got like 4 more bunches in the raised bed out there that I haven't harvested yet. So I probably will put a few more packages, you know, another couple of bunches in the freezer. Plus I'll keep some out to eat now because I love to make a good tuna fish salad and put it on celery and eat it like that. I love it that way. It's a great snack. It's a great meal sometimes. You see, that immediately cools that down. Almost all the ice is melted, not quite all of it. There's still some ice pieces floating around in there. But I found a colander is the best thing to use with this. I want to get it away from the drainer there. Turn that off because it's been 3 minutes. Get that spigot out of the way. Rinse this out with cold water. I mean, look at that. I mean, those 2 bunches of celery made quite a bunch of celery. It made this colander full. I'm just going to drip that the best I can. And then I want to bring you over here to my table so you can see what I'm going to do. When it's dripped, drained all it can possibly drain. I'm hoping this pan will hold all of this without having to get another one because I can't fit another pan up in my freezer. I dropped a piece on the floor and I don't want to step on it, but I don't know where it went. Oh well, I guess it's okay. But I'm just going to spread this out. It's best if you don't have quite this much in the pan, but try to level it out as much as possible. Now what I'm going to do is fold the towel over on it, and I'm going to blot as much water out of it as I can. Get it all on that towel. I mean, you probably can't get every bit of it out, but the more you can get off of your celery in the dryer you can get it, the better. Because that moisture will cause it to freeze and stick together. So the more you can get out, the better. see, I've got parchment paper. Just just kind of dig your fingers right down in there and get it as dry as possible. The less moisture you have on that celery, the better it's going to be. Because if there's too much on it, it's going to stick together. When it freezes, you just want it just as dry as possible. I mean, I know you can't get every bit of the water off of it, but you need to get as much as possible off. My towel is getting kind of wet, so I know I'm getting a lot of it off. And if you got the time, other than me trying to do a video, you can lay it out on your counter and let it cool, dry out. But I'd prefer not to do that because then it's going to get hot again. And you want to keep it cold as possible. Now let's see. I might use this other towel, because they can be washed. Just carefully transfer it to your pan again. You can see in turning it upside down, you get a lot of the moisture come back up to the top. Sorry about that, I got in front of the camera with the towel. But it'll freeze and some of it might stick together a little bit. But when you take it out, it'll probably break apart real easy when you go to put it in your storage containers. Just do this number to get one last little rotation of moisture out. Now what I'm going to do is put this in my freezer and leave it until these are froze solid, basically flash frozen, and then I'll bring you back and show you what else I'm going to do, because I made space just enough to get this one pan up here. So it's not going to take it too long to freeze, and I really didn't need this parchment paper. I was thinking about putting it on the parchment paper, but I decided not to. And I didn't need that. See, I have a lot of cooking utensils in my kitchen. But at one time or another, I end up using every one of them. So, but there, now it depends on your freezer how long it's going to take to freeze your celery. But we're going to freeze it on the pan. I'm not sure exactly how long it'll take it, but I'll check it periodically. As soon as it's completely frozen, I'll come back and I'll show you what else we're going to do. Well, y'all, we're back. I'm going to check my celery. Now, there's several different ways that you can store it. You can either freeze it in, little containers, plastic containers, freezer containers like these, or you can use freezer bags. Now, all I've got is a quart freezer bag. I need 1/2 that size, because what I'd like to do is freeze my celery in the quantities that I want to use it. That way I don't have to open a container, get out part of it, and then put the container back. So these are something that, would hold just about what I would use at one time of my celery. You can put it in that, what do you call it, air seal meal, whatever. But the packages usually are pretty big. And this is about what I would use at one time if I was going to put it in soups or stews or anything else. A whole quart bag would be a little bit much, I think. Here, we'll see. I'll pour one of these containers in there and see how much it would be in there. Yeah, see, that's about all that I would use at one time if I was going to put it in anything. And it's best to get out any of the air. But that's a good size package right there. So I think I'll do that with the rest of it. I'll try to fill it up and then put it in my little baggies. Now you can write the date on it if you'd like, but I know from one year to the next, I'm only going to keep stuff in there a year. And I know basically when I put this celery in there was in June. But just get your, what air out of it you can. And then seal it up. Now you can bring your celery out of the garden. You can wash it, chop it up, and put it straight into a baggie and keep it, freeze it that way. But you're only going to be able to keep it for maybe 2 or 3 months before it's not going to be any good anymore. This way, I know this celery is going to be good for at least 12 months. And the only reason you want to freeze it before you put it in your containers is so it don't end up sticking together like a clump. But if you've got it in an individual pack like this, just enough to use for one recipe, then it really don't matter. Because you'll take the whole package out, thaw it up, and put it right in your pot. And I'm not going to have enough for another one, so I think what I'm going to do is just add this right in here. I'll just have one package with a little bit more than the other. It's not a big deal. But that's about 2 or 3 stalks of celery right there. And that's normally what you would chop up to put in a recipe. Or you may not want to put that much. Just depends on how you like celery and how much you normally put in your recipes, I guess. But see, we got 5 packages of celery here. Because I got some in here and I got the rest in here. And I won't be using that. And I found that it stores better in my freezer to do it this way. Because it lays flat. Just like that. And I wanted to show you too, like if you got tomatoes, they might be starting to get too ripe on you. Get a couple of them over here. I'm over here at my tomatoes right now. Especially these little ones. I mean, these little ones work great for this. But I've only got 3. I need to go pick the rest of them, and I haven't done that yet, so. But I'm going to show you. What I'm going to do is wash them a little bit. I'm going to break the stems off. Now this is a great way to keep them if you're just wanting to take them out and use them for salsa. Or just put them in a soup or stew. I'm going to dry them a little bit so they don't stick together. And I'm going to come over here and get me a freezer bag. And I can drop them right in my freezer bag. I may have too many in here. It's not going to hold any more than that. And you can freeze fresh tomatoes just like this. And when you take them out to thaw them out, the skin just comes right off real easy, just like they do if you had put them in boiling water like I normally do. But it's a great way to keep your tomatoes from ruining on you. Just put them in a baggie, wash them, put them in the baggie, or dry them off, put them in a baggie, and stick them in the freezer and freeze them. And then pull them out when you get ready to use them. I didn't have room for that one in there. But I'm probably going to be freezing more of them because, or either canning them. Because you know, I did show you one way to do it, how you can make your pasta sauce. And go ahead and can that so you'll have it for later. And this is another way to keep your tomatoes. If you're not sure how you want to cook them, if you don't know if you want to cook them in a soup or a stew or a salsa or a pasta sauce or anything like that, just go ahead and freeze them whole. And then when you want to make your sauce or your soup, stews, or whatever you want to add tomatoes to, then you can take them out and use them. And they're real easy to peel. So I hope that has helped some of you knowing how to store some of your vegetables anyway. I got to get out there and start watering my garden. But there you go. There's a great way to keep your vegetables from ruining on you when you got your own garden and you got an abundance coming in and you know you can't use them all before they spoil. So with that, I'm going to wish y'all a good day. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye now. Love y'all.